Alright, it's brew day, making a blonde ale today, and I'm going to attempt to give a little bit of a video tour of my mashing process for my homebrewing peeps who have been curious about what I'm doing, and it's sometimes easier to visualize than describe. This is my setup here, and as importantly, you have to have a good brewing assistant, because you're my helper. Bucket full of our crushed grains here waiting to go. Brew kettle is heating up. I don't think you want to see that, but 8 3/4 up to 9, almost 9 gallons of water.
How come you're talking?
Because I'm making a video. Warming it up. We're at 110. We're going for somewhere in the 160s. I'm not quite sure right now. Kettle, tubing coming out that goes into the bottom of the pump. Pump pumps around and up into the mash tun. Mash tun has copper slotted manifold in it, slots on the bottom, temperature probe, just some 1/2-inch food grade silicone tubing here for my sparge water return. From out of the mash tun, goes back into the top of the kettle, which then goes down into my little thing there, comes back in there. Alright, I'm shooting for a strike temperature of 165. And to take the mash tun thermal mass out of the equation, I'm going to be preheating it so that the water in there is 165. So to do that, as my burner in the boil kettle is still heating things up, I'm recirculating the hot water around and around and around. Got this fairly full because we're just trying to warm it up. And when this gets to 165, we will shut it off, let it sit for just a minute, drain it down to 2.5 gallons or whatever my water amount that I need is, and then add the grains in. Alright, I hit my strike temp, drained the water down to 2 1/4, 2.5 gallons, added in my grains, stirred them up, and we are stabilizing around 152-ish. Which is what we wanted. So now we'll set the timer for 45 minutes and close the lid. Come back in a while. So it's been about 45 minutes. We've only lost about 1 degree on our mash. And I'm going to boil off a 1/2 gallon or a gallon, which is just draining first a little bit of my wort out of here into this pitcher and then pouring it back in on top of here to catch the larger grain husk while the filter bed sets up at the bottom. Having finished the boil off, I've now turned the burner back on my kettle, which has my remaining water that I need for the batch. I guess it would be my sparge water if this was a traditional sparge method. And I've turned the pump back on, so we're once again recirculating now. The wort from the mash tun is going in and mixing with the remaining water in the kettle and being recirculated back around. And I'm going to try to hold that at a temperature in the mid-50s for the next 15 minutes to finish the mashing process, and then I'll turn up the burner on the kettle to raise the temperature up on the grain to the about 170 or so to mash out, and then shut the pump off and let all the wort that's left in here drain back in the kettle. We're circulating the wort for 10-15 minutes. I don't know, I didn't put a timer on it, but the grain beds come up to about a 170 temperature, which is a good mash out temp. I don't know what you can see in here before the lens starts fogging up, but the wort coming back out of the tube is pretty clear. It's cleared up nicely because of the recirculation. So I'm going to shut the pump off and let the rest of the 4 3/4 gallons of liquid that are in here drain down into the boil kettle where the rest of its wort is waiting for it. And I drained 7.5 gallons of really light colored wort into the boil kettle, and we are getting close to approaching boiling temperature. From this point on, it's pretty straightforward. The interesting stuff is done. I think I might as well keep filming for the heck of it though. We're at 60 minutes. In go Centennial. In goes 30-minute edition of Centennial. 20 minutes. In goes some Cascade. At 15 minutes, I drop the wort chiller in to start sanitizing it. Turn the pump back on, start recirculating wort around to again sanitize it. And also add in some Irish moss for clarification. Final hop addition is at 5 minutes. A little more Cascade. Chiller got us down to about 68 degrees, which, considering how warm out it is today, is I think just about as good as it's gonna get. So I pulled it off. Gonna leave the wort recirculating around in here for a couple more minutes, just to make sure we got a little whirlpooling action going on. It's not very much whirlpooling action, but it's what I got. And then I'm gonna go let it sit for 20 minutes while I finish mowing the lawn. Let the tube settle out to the bottom.